Hey guys, it's Cassie, aka Cats and Camera, and today is my November wrap up. So after the crazy amazing month of October where I read so much, I didn't get to that many in November. I read 5 things. Oh hi guys, it's Cass from the future. A future where I've literally edited and uploaded this whole video and it's 1 o'clock in the morning. But has anybody else had Goodreads totally messing up recently? That's how I saw what I'd read in November, but I realised that I didn't read 5 things in November, I read 7, and one of them was this behemoth. How the hell did I forget that I read this in November? I was literally watching somebody else's video and they mentioned Game of Thrones. I was like, oh shit, that was meant to be in my wrap up. So yeah, screw you Goodreads. I don't know what's going on with you at the moment, but stuff's just not showing up where it's meant to show up. So yes, I read A Dance with Dragons by George R.R. Martin. This is a book that I started in 2015. Oh my god, I have actually finally finished it. Yes. And also, this was so good. Seriously, I don't know why I stopped and put it down and didn't go back to it for so long, because I really enjoyed it. As soon as I got back into it, I was like, just reading it so much. And now I'm even more annoyed that The Winds of Winter doesn't come out for ages. But yes, I don't need to tell you what this is about. And also it's like 5 books in, so if I say too much then it'll probably ruin it. But also it probably won't, because I bet 99% of people watch the TV show instead of reading the book anyway. I read this and it was really good. And look how I had to read it. I have such small copies. But it was good. It was hard when you get to the end and you're like this, trying to read it. But yeah. And the other one, I said I'd read 7. I read Peter by Kate Walker. This one follows the main character Peter, and he likes dirt biking and he does a lot of that. And it's basically just his life and growing up, trying to figure himself out. His brother has a friend that comes around and starts hanging out with him, and he's gay. It's not a romance, but it's more Peter kind of coming to terms with his own sexuality after being around this other guy and realising that he feels that way as well. I really enjoyed it. It's only little. I like that it's really small as well. It's quite cute. But yeah, you should definitely check this out if you like gay contemporary. Anyway, back to the video that I've already uploaded. I'm gonna have to take it down and do it again. So first up, I read Captain Marvel Volume 1. This is called Higher, Further, Faster, More by DeConnick and Lopez. Honestly, I didn't really know much about this going into it. It was one that I randomly grabbed for free because I'm an Amazon Prime person, so there's a bunch of stuff we can read for free on there. And yeah, I thought I might as well grab it, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty funny. There were a lot of cool little references, as those are like the little Star Wars jokes and stuff like that. So yeah, I did find it really fun. I thought the artwork was really nice as well. And it probably would make me pick up more Captain Marvel as well. She is a superhero that I didn't really know much about, so it was cool to read from her point of view. Next up, I read The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. This is book 1 of the Chaos Walking trilogy. And this one is another one that I had no idea what it was about going into it. This is just a series that I picked up cheap at a charity shop because it was Patrick Ness, and I've heard a little bit about it, but I really had no idea what it was about. But again, this is another book that I really enjoyed. It's about our main character Todd, and he lives in this town where everyone can hear each other's thoughts. And there's only men there because this thing that made it possible to hear people's thoughts also killed off all the women. And there's a lot of mystery here involved. His best friend's his dog, who he can also hear in his mind, so you get his point of view as well, Manchi the dog, who is adorable. And yeah, I'm looking forward to going on to the next book and seeing what's going on. There was one thing in this book, I don't want to say what it was or even allude too much to it because I don't want it to be a spoiler, but there was one sort of thing that kind of persisted throughout, and it was like, it was there at the most opportune or inopportune times, and it was kind of like, towards the end I was rolling my eyes because I was like, how is this possible constantly over and over again? Why is this still happening, kind of thing. But it did annoy me a little bit, but it didn't take away from the story. If you've read this, you probably will know what I mean, but if not, hopefully I've left it vague enough. Next up, I read Ghost Medicine by Andrew Smith. This was my last Andrew Smith book that I haven't read yet. Well, apart from his short story in Because You Love to Hate Me, but I am getting that for Christmas, so yes, all of his actual books, his 10 books, this was my last one to read. Unfortunately, it was my least favourite of his as well. It was the first he ever released in 2008, so I feel like he hadn't developed his own style and his own quirks as much as in the other books. I did still enjoy it, but I think because it was very much based around horses and stuff, they aren't really my thing. But yeah, I enjoyed it, but just not as much as other Andrew Smith books. This is about a bunch of friends who work on ranches and sort of their trials and tribulations in their life, and then something happens, and then other stuff happens because of that. Right at the beginning of this book, as soon as it starts, before even chapter 1, they mention that something's happened and there's been deaths. And I think he says it's like the death of all 3 of us kind of thing, whether metaphorically or physically, you don't know until later on. And yeah, it was okay, I enjoyed it, but just not as much of his other books. But I kind of knew I would going in, that's why I left it till last. I had a feeling that it was going to be my least favourite out of his. Next up, I read Sprout by Dale Peck. This one was... it was nice. It was really different to I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be really kind of like middle grade-y and written quite simple, but it's actually kind of the opposite of that, because our main character, Sprout, is a writer, and he is, throughout this, there's this competition where he writes essays and is sort of working up to that and practicing and stuff. And I like the fact that there was a lot of words used in here that aren't really used in these sort of books, if that makes sense. It wasn't patronising or trying to talk down to you, but it was sort of more eloquently spoken or written. Not flowery though, not in that sort of way, but he used big words, or he used words that you wouldn't necessarily see in YA contemporaries. Yeah. I hope that gets across what I mean by this. And also, along with the writing, there's this sort of love interesty stuff in the background. He is gay, he doesn't like people to know, but he's kind of having this thing with somebody at school, and then a new guy turns up, and then he has his own stuff going on. But yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but it is actually really good, so you should definitely check this out. It's one I don't really hear talked about much on here, but it is definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. And last but not least, I read Watching Elijah Fall by Amy Spector. This is a short little novella. I read this sort of out and about. I didn't want to jump into another book on my Kindle because I was already reading stuff, which I haven't actually finished yet, but I didn't want to start anything else. And yeah, we basically follow a guy who is kind of in a rut. He broke up with his boyfriend a while ago, and all he does is kind of do his job, and he doesn't really hang out and do anything much. So somebody suggests that he should join this photography club, like night schooling, and he does it, and his teacher is Elijah. Like I say, this is pretty short, but it's quite nice. I give it 3 stars. It's not like amazing, but it's worth a read if you just got a little time to kill and you don't want something really heavy or long to get through. So yes, those were the 5 things I read in November. I did start a few other things which I am carrying into December, so you'll hear about them at the end of this month. So tell me down below what you read in November, or if you've read any of these, then tell me what you thought about them. If this is your first video about me and you enjoy it, then please check out some of my others, and if you continue to enjoy, then please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Bye. Oh, for fuck's sake, why is my fringe so freaking annoying? Why can't it just not be a prick? I really need to cut my hair. What even is that doing? For fuck's sake, really?